Damn, Dame, you tweaking on the beat.
Yeah, Macklemore, that song was cool. I support it. But I gotta get on some ratchet shit about somebody you did not mention. I slapped the shit out of Benjamin Netanyahu. I slapped the shit out of Netanyahu because I got to. I slapped the shit out of him. You better hope I slap him and I don't clap him. If you hate a Zionist, let me hear you say fuck him. Leave a hole in Netan's chest bigger than a Funyun. Leave his body right there smelling like some Funyuns. And I heard his wife got an onion. I gotta diss him cause Macklemore didn't mention him. It's no beef, Big Mac, don't mention it. Wonder how many innocents he killed as prime minister. Blood in his eyes, real Mr. Sinister. Ain't you from Philly, bitch? Slap you like I'm Will Smith on live. And you killed Yitzhak Rabin back in 1995. Trying to kill the Philistines till there's no more left alive. So if I see you in the streets, then you know you gotta no lie, no cap. Had to put his bitch ass in a rap. If I see his bitch ass, it's a rap. Gotta wipe Netan nose, big schlack. Yeah, slime him out. Shit real smoke, you know what I'm about. Right of return, get the fuck out the house. Take that yarmulke off, you just got it on for clout. Yeah, we don't believe you. Getting protested every day by your own people. Better hope I don't see you. You better hope I don't see you. Netan. Yoo-hoo! You genocidal, bloodthirsty. Scared to face the music. Blood is on your hands, actually. You never wanted peace, you always wanted a war. That's all you good for. The world be a better place without you. Have to slime him out. Yeah.
Come down and see what and all the parts, well, we're in great shape. A great deal was made. Yeah, the Prime Minister, they did a great job. You know, they're just trying to make that deal for years, and he got done. Everybody was going to be a lot of years here. Our relationship is unparalleled, but it keeps it even closer. You know, when you're able to have a good ratio, it keeps it even closer. Is there a better deal to be done on whiskey, on tariffs? Whiskey, I didn't know whiskey is a problem. I'm not a big fan. She was a respected person all over the United States. I don't know what he's doing, but she's very respected him. I don't want to say more. I'll get It looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of
yeah, they just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Our notes had it about 3.1 as well.
3.1.
3.2.
This came from us.
Yes. I don't know who does that.
Are you including the Martin renovation? You just added
our entire capital.
Yeah, you just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no, but it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
But it's
So,
not new.
So we're getting.
Hello, humans. Okay, I gotta get used to the setup here because I'm very not used to it. Thank you for waiting. I know we're a little bit late today. I am still like on the move. This is one of those on the move kind of moments. Okay. Anyways, this is Power Report. It's the 31st of July, 2025. I am Dan. How are you?
I am Bam.
Oh God, no, sorry. I was reading something else. And I was just like, God, that's annoying. Anyways, I feel like there's just so much to go into, but like the easiest thing to go into is just everything going on with Gaza. Like first off, just like off the rip. I know this isn't like in the order of the rundown, but like last week was like a little bit off of the usual sort of show. It wasn't like really newsy. This week and over the past couple of weeks, there have just been so many different changing things about the, massacre, if you will. I'm trying to figure out what's the YouTube correct phrase, but good news, you can say fuck more often in the videos now. So that's great for Ray. But yeah, like I think there's a lot of different angles to go in from, and I want to kind of like let you lead the show here, honestly. Especially when it comes to this regard, but there's a bunch of countries coming out all of a sudden because they saw their, like, I'm not sure which picture or video did it for them, but they're coming out trying to say like, okay, we are now going to acknowledge Palestine as a state, which it's up in the air to what that truly means in the broader sense. But you also have the Arab nations who are like calling on Hamas to stand down and release the hostages. Like the Arab nations have become American Christian evangelical Zionists. So there's and then of course there's the realities on the ground that are not laughable of what's happening to people, like the mass starvation. And then you have Donald Trump, who is like, again, kind of riding this line. And I'm not sure if this is a week where he freed Palestine. I mean, to be fair, he's like freed Palestine like 45 times in this administration. In fact, according to Netanyahu, there are no starving kids. So maybe it's like 49 and a quarter times. But Bam, there's many more angles, I think, as well. If you want to talk about Eswanti or whatever that country is.
Oh God, don't
feel free to do that too.
Not Eswatini, aka the former Swaziland. There are a lot of angles, and I'm gonna have smoke for the BRICS. I do have smoke for the BRICS countries. We have seen France come out and say that they're going to recognize Palestine as a state in September. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like, I don't really feel like recognizing Palestine as a state is a big deal. There's like,
me neither.
Yeah. There's like over 100
right now.
Yeah. There's well over 100 countries that recognize Palestine as a state. Like Spain recognized Palestine a year ago or something like that. It does not move the needle. Okay. But like, I guess just like the preemptive thing for when Netanyahu's not there. When Mark Carney from Canada said that they're going to recognize, and I think it's the same for France and the UK as well, and Germany. Their recognition of the Palestinian state has conditions. The conditions are interesting. It's saying that the Palestinian Authority has to hold elections next year. We'll see about that. and is saying that Hamas has no role in governing Gaza. Now, Hamas said that last year, that they are willing to put their weapons down and not have any role in governing Gaza. Like they said that last year. So it's not really like that crazy, but we'll see. Netanyahu's like the last person saying that there will not be a two-state solution. Well, actually, let me take that back. Our previous president, Mr. Joe Biden, did support a two-state solution. Trump has not said anything about it yet, and Netanyahu is against it. So we'll see what happens with that in the future. But the recognition of the Palestinian state is something for the future. It's not like some it's fine, it's cool, but it ain't like gonna change what's on the ground. Now, I said I have smoke for the BRICS, and I do. Because I kind of have smoke for tankies a little bit. Because we saw France, your boy Emmanuel Macron, come out and say that France was going to recognize Palestine as a state. And the UK and Germany, along with France, were putting a bit more pressure on Israel to change the situation on the ground in Gaza. I want to say like a week prior to these European nations putting pressure on Israel, the Trump administration, along with Israel, said that they were done negotiating with Hamas. They had walked out of the negotiations because Hamas could not be negotiated with. They weren't negotiating in good faith, so they were done. Then right after that, France and them and Germany and the UK said they put more pressure on Israel. They said they're going to recognize Palestine as a state. And then Israel started to allow aid to get into Gaza. A lot more aid, and not just the Squid Games aid by the Gaza Humanitarian Fund, where you have to get shot to get the aid. A lot more trucks started coming in. They started doing airdrops. Hopefully they stopped doing those airdrops, because I remember when they were doing them before, those boxes were falling on people. But there were some airdrops. Jordan did some, and some other things. Now, I think I was talking to Caesar about it, but I'm just like, it's just really funny to me because we have Russia, China, and let's just include Saudi Arabia. I think they went to the last BRICS meeting. They have done nothing to do anything to put pressure on Israel to change the situation on the ground in Gaza. They have done nothing. It took Israeli, effectively countries that were allies that have been arming Israel and shit, to say like, hey, you got to allow the aid in, because the famine is going on too long. Where was any of this rhetoric from like these countries that are supposed to be like the anti-imperialist fighting force BRICS nations of the world? Even though obviously I've said BRICS is not real, it is not. But for like that segment of the left that look at Russia and China as this like block against the United States and the quote unquote West, how come they have not done anything to change the situation on the ground in Gaza? At the very least, Saudi Arabia and OPEC as like controlling so much oil in the world and in so many Muslim countries, it would have been really nice if it was non-whitey countries that came together. Dan put me full blast when I said whitey. It would have been nice if it was like some other countries that did something to change the situation on the ground in Gaza. I've been saying from day one, all Saudi Arabia has to do is do the same thing. Let me make this very clear before I shut up. Wait, what's going on in there? Is Dan telling me to shut up? No.
No,
Wait,
no.
I'm gonna say this and then I'm done and I'm gonna shut up. In 2022, Russia and Saudi Arabia came together to make sure that gas prices were very high for the midterms in 2022. Look it up. They didn't even hide it. We're lowering our production, Russia and China together, to raise the gas prices for the 2022 midterms so Republicans can get elected. You've seen the stickers at the gas stations with Joe Biden's face saying, "I did this with the gas prices." They did that on purpose to get Republicans elected in 2022. Has there been any? I seen the gas is $3.50 over here. It's $3.49. Shit, loading a bitch. I ain't seen it this low in a minute. There has been nothing of the sort done by Russia or Saudi Arabia, one or the other, or together, to put any pressure on the world. If OPEC and Saudi Arabia and them said, we're cutting off this oil supply, we're making these gas prices go to fucking $10 until something changes on the ground in Gaza, it would be over. Netanyahu has to respond to that. But nothing. It took Macron, who's the prime minister of England this week, Starmer, and whoever's the chancellor in Germany. It took them to come together to say, Israel, stop the bullshit. 2 years late. And they got Aiden. Is it obviously it's not like great right now. But you know, it's just a shame. Like, I really hope that there's like this faction of the left, and I don't even listen to them anymore, so I don't even know what the hell they're saying. There's only like one tanky that I still hear, and he's old, so I'm just like, you don't really know. But I'm just like, what is it going to take for you people to see that Russia and China do not care about Palestine? It's just rhetoric, dude. They don't care. Just like Saudi Arabia don't care and the United States don't care. It's all the same. Okay, I'll shut up.
I was gonna say you're about to make your like fourth or fifth last point, but it's okay. No, I wanted you to go off, honestly.
I learned it from you. No, I can say more, but I'll stop for now.
No. Honestly, like, you did a really good job of covering it from all angles, honestly. Like, I'm going to actually read some comments here because there is so much. Aaron says, last week damming it with a Vanguard, this week he makes it with BAM. Mentioning that Macklemore did 2 Free Palestine songs and didn't mention Netanyahu once, which is very, very, very fair. The
second one had like
an undisclosed location. Yeah, that's
the second Free Palestine song had like 3 Arabs on there. None of them mentioned Netanyahu.
Damn. Okay. That's a little troubling. Yeah, I'm gonna continue Dan in heaven. Yeah, no, I'm gonna continue adjusting my set as much as I can. Hi Kat. Hamanep, Bad Lefty, good to see you. I'm a little bit closer to your time zone now, so that is great. That is good. I'm not gonna hold up my microphone again because it kept disconnecting and it almost ruined the entire stream. So a lot of brick emojis. Love seeing that. Everyone's grilling me for saying like, "Oh wow, that was a long last point." So yeah, that's totally fair. I'm being self-aware right now. That's why I've talked very little for this episode, honestly.
Yeah, and you're done again. I'm gonna keep going. Yeah, it's my time to shine. we're gonna talk about Azerbaijan. No, I'm joking. I did want to address one of the comments. Lefty said they did it in the
Can you put it
70s.
up? Can you put it up?
Oh yeah, I forgot I could do that. It's because I'd be like looking in the chat on my phone, and then I'd be.
It's okay. I got it. I found it.
Yeah. So, yeah, Bad Lefty mentioned they did it in the 70s, and he's referring to Saudi Arabia in response, and I want to say it was 1973, in response to one of the wars that happened there in Israel, or like surrounding Israel. Was that the Sinai War, 73, or was that 67? Honestly, it was one of those. The Sinai War might have been 67. So, Dan's looking it up, I think. Okay, Lefty says it was the Sinai War.
73.
Okay, nice. So yeah, when The Godfather came out and when the Knicks last won their NBA championship, the gas crisis was because of Saudi Arabia.
No. I gotta interrupt you for the first time on this episode. That felt really targeted, and you know what? I'm gonna be really white right now because I'm in this white room. I resent that.
I used to be a Knicks fan, but that's when they last won the championship, 1973, and that's when The Godfather came out.
Why'd you used to be? And why do you care about when The Godfather came out and not about when the last time you watched The Godfather was?
Yeah, I don't even know if I was saying Godfather. But yeah, okay, yeah, because honestly, I kind of forget the wars names, but in response to that war, Saudi Arabia cut off the oil supply. They said, if this is going on, we're cutting the oil, and there was a gas crisis here in the United States of America. Super long lines. Ask your grandparents or parents about it or whatever. And now, granted, I think it was King Faisal who did that. Now, granted, he did get killed after that by his brother, who I think they put his brother in the sunken place and had him kill him. But yeah, he did die after that. But it's just when you have countries that have the ability to shake the world up whenever they feel like it, like when they feel like they want to get Republicans elected in the 2022 midterms, and seeing upwards of 60,000 people die, you're seeing famine and Israel for weeks not letting in any aid, saying like, oh, they have enough aid already. Another big article that came out recently, Israel used to say like, oh, we're not letting in aid because Hamas steals the aid. Now they said that Hamas is not stealing the aid. Now, I have a caveat to that because they said they were like, oh, Hamas does not like steal the aid, but like I've seen videos of Hamas stealing the aid. So
no. I need to I will say, now that I'm on the other side of this, we need to like break some of these things like down one by one, honestly. Number one, the fact that they're denying, the fact that Israel is denying, like, never mind Zionist Bam over here. The fact that Israel is denying what is going on in Gaza as though it's not a starvation campaign.
Right.
When this is the same country that I want you all to imagine a time, and I don't want you to freak out when I say these following words, but before October 7th, there are Israeli officials that are on record saying, we're going to put the Palestinians on a diet. The starvation campaign was already in place. Like the Power Report, saying in 2024 was like the fascism is already here. And, I think like there's enough sort of like settling in with what Trump is doing to be able to realize that like there's a lot of different things that have been consistent between recent Democratic and Republican Party administrations that have led up to all the mechanisms that are allowing Donald Trump to do all of these terrible things that are happening right now. That's not to say that Donald Trump isn't uniquely terrible, but like there are, Tom Homan was first brought in to, homeland security and the ability to like deport people and give wedgies to Eric Adams, which, you know, you win some, you lose some. But that was because Obama appointed him. So there is so much that there's just like so much that could be better about how we just like approach this really cynical effort of Democrats who all of a sudden, or, you know, countries all of a sudden who are absolutely just like saying, oh, we're going to acknowledge that, you know, Palestinians have a right to having borders of their own. Right? Like we're going to recognize this thing that Israel is not recognizing. You know, it seems like they have the final word on the issue. That Israel is going to somehow relinquish the open air prison that they have in Gaza. Like, this just seems sort of like the most performative stuff ever. Like, whether you're talking about these countries like we're talking about here, or you're talking about individual Democrats, like in the Senate, for example, and this is my last point of 6. No, but truly, in the Senate, for example, there was a push by a lot of senators to stop sending offensive weapons to Gaza, essentially. Sorry, offensive weapons to Israel, essentially. And one of the reasons it failed was because Elise Slotkin, as opposed to Democrat, was not there. And, you know, she's been someone who's been very pro everything that Israel's been doing, even up to this point. But you want to know why she wasn't there, Bam?
Oh my gosh, she was in Israel.
Close, but no. She was on the Colbert Report. Sorry, the Late Show with the recently canceled Stephen Colbert. Take that for cancel culture, Republicans. So yeah, that is that's how we're doing things.
You know, I've been
sorry, my second of 2 points, honestly. I bring that up only because, like, that's one of the things you mentioned in the beginning of how bass-ackwards this, hi YouTube, all of this sort of reaction is, because anyone could have said this in the Democratic Party on October 8th. We were saying it on Power Report on October, like, whatever was the first Thursday after that. I'm not sure if we did an emergency episode or whatever, but whatever was the first Thursday after that, we said this was going to happen. We knew this was going to happen. We were really balanced about it. And there's no one in the Democratic Party. I'm not sure if we have, I might try to find it, but there's no one in the Democratic Party who was actually acknowledging around that time that, hey, Israel's going to have a heated gamer moment. Maybe we should not enable them to do this. And I'm not even saying, like, even at that point, like, they should have gotten rid of the Iron Dome, but, you know, again, I'll just leave that there. But giving them more weapons, continuing to give them more aid. And again, you have the America First people who are like saying, third point, you have the America First people who are saying that there is no reason we should be funding Israel, but they're doing it for very anti-Semitic reasons, largely, right? But from a humanist perspective, which, like, even polling in America is starting to show now, opinion polling with, like, regular people is starting to break with this, except for Republicans, where support for the war is actually going up compared to Biden, which, you know, just shows that. But with Democrats, opinion polling is starting to show more Democrats in the Democratic Party dislike what's happening than like it, and disapprove of what's happening than approve of it. So I think it's just sort of amazing, this sort of, like, oh, well, the polling hit 50% plus one disapprove. So now I'm going to grow balls, as though this wasn't bad on October 8th or October 9th or November 9th or November 9th, 2024. Or like won't be bad on November 9th, 2025. Because even if Trump frees Palestine for the 40th time, fourth point, there's no way that this is going to be reversible even by the end of this year. This is starvation. This is generational. This is going to affect people not just for the rest of their lives, but genetically for people who hopefully survive this, for their children and grandchildren. Like,
it's definitely
fifth point, and this is the last one. When Piers Morgan starts to outflank people like Hakeem Jeffries and Alyssa Slotkin, like, dude, come on. Like, what are we doing here? And another thing. Okay, Bam.
No, it's definitely like generational issue. I mean, granted, like after October 7th happened, like, yeah, it's like I was like, yeah, like it's gonna be really bad. But like I'm not trying to like rehash the whole thing, but I think it's been almost 2 years. Like I think we have to put everything into context, and October 7th wasn't a response to the blockade or the embargo or the occupation. October 7th was a response to Saudi Arabia and Israel having diplomatic visits for the first time
I've been
ever.
saying this, yeah.
Yeah. And I've heard some other people say it after me. But but yeah, that is
oh no.
It was a direct response.
Drop some nails in the chat, everyone, for oh no.
That was a direct response to that. It was political on behalf of Hamas to not have Israel and Saudi Arabia, the two biggest enemies for Hamas and Iran, coming together and to eventually sign the Abraham Accords. Now, fast forward 2025, are Saudi Arabia and Israel going to sign the Abraham Accords? Yes, they are going to do it. When is that going to happen? Basically, once the war is over, once Israel, like what Netanyahu is doing, he is literally trying to save his ass politically. He's not trying to eradicate Hamas. Hamas is like a few people fighting, like a few people like setting an IED off somewhere, a few people like shooting and stuff. Most of the Hamas people are hiding. It was actually really, I guess it's not funny, but it was kind of funny. They were saying like, obviously there is a famine going on in Gaza. There was somebody saying, he was like, yeah, but like when the Hamas fighters get arrested, they're not starving. Like, you know what I mean? I've been seeing recently, like they're talking about how there was like some study that was done in like 2008 saying like what percent of the time are insurgencies or like ideologies like Hamas eradicated through war. And it was like 7% of the time. And I think one of the big reasons because that is the case is because, let's just stick with Hamas. Like Hamas doesn't care about civilian casualties. That's not their problem. For Hamas, the civilian casualties is Israel's problem. And Israel don't care. So like it's just piling up and it's going nowhere.
And, in a way, neither does Hamas.
No, that's what I said first. Like Hamas doesn't care. Like that's not their problem.
But like it's such a good point that like this is I'm not going to say strategic of Hamas because I don't think it
is 100% strategic. It's strategic.
Okay.
It's strategy.
Okay, well then, yeah. it seems to be working in that sense because it
Yeah.
is
It's making Israel look terrible, and the Hamas people, that the ones that aren't dead already, we saw when that ceasefire happened in January, when I was really pissed off. When they started bringing the hostages out, they had a big old show of force. They were acting like they've been doing something the past year and a half. Like they were acting like they've been really getting it cracking, and it's like, no, dude, actually 40,000 civilians are dead. So you haven't been doing shit. But the civilian casualties is not the problem of Hamas. The civilian casualties, all it's doing is making Israel look bad, making Netanyahu look bad, making people speaking Hebrew in Belgium get like, beat up and shit like that. Like that's what it's doing. Hamas is an ideology, and it's not gonna be eradicated through force. What can happen though is Netanyahu stop what he's doing. Like his coalition, which is like the most rabid right wing, insane people in the history of Israeli politics, get out of power somehow, and they start. This is a side note, and this always breaks my heart. Nobody else cares about this. I'm going to say it anyway. It always breaks my heart. It makes me feel like we really need a two-state solution, because it makes me so sad when I hear a Palestinian, like, they're speaking Arabic, they're talking about the situation, and they talk about like how the prices are so high, and they have to say the word shekel. It breaks my heart. I hate that so much that a Palestinian has to say shekel. You need your own money, dude. Like, I don't want them to have to use the word shekel. That's Israel's money, I want you to say dinar, dirham, dollar.
Just to confirm, Bam, how do you feel about other countries using the word dollar?
No,
I
don't
have to use the word like dollar.
No, I don't care about that. I just don't want, because it's like you need your own money. You need your own nation.
Are you anti-Semitic?
Are you?
Other countries that use the U.S. dollar?
Okay, the other countries that use the U.S. dollars like Ecuador and like Panama. No, but the word dollar is whatever.
Are you anti-Panamanian?
Lefty joined the euro already. No, seriously. That's what. Yeah, shit. That's what. If Trump and them get what they want, but yeah, like the situation is.
Talk about the renminbi.
Forget about all that. The situation is getting worse and worse. Am I going to say the Trump thing? Am I going to do it? Yeah, I'm going to do it. I still haven't seen any Free Palestiner mention Trump. Still haven't seen it. Although I have. Yeah, well, I'm going to say mine, and then you say yours. I have seen a Free Palestiner.
I'll show you yours if you show me mine.
Literally, I have seen a Free Palestiner post a Candace Owens clip. Wow, I told Dan, and Dan told me that,
and I told him that I saw a Free Palestiner, and not just a Free Palestiner, this is all Biden's falter,
right?
Also Zelensky's, and he is saying that we can find common ground with the right-wing fascists and the neo-Nazis. And
wow.
Was once given a cease and desist for using the name of an actual freedom fighter for their grifty show. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, I don't even know. They posted Marjorie Taylor Greene, right?
I don't remember exactly, honestly, but I just know that it's just like it's not even that, right? Like it's literally just saying like, these people have not literally, but like, essentially implying that people on the far right, like the people who are supporting mass deportations and all this stuff, are actually correct in all of this. But anyways, you've got me over explaining who this is. I was cutting you off again, and the people don't like that apparently.
No, it's I know what social media does to people. It can be very frustrating, but I understand what social media is, so I get it. For somebody who, once again, has been in the Free Palestine movement for over 20 years now, there is just so much nuance. It's not as simple as it seems. And really, to understand what's going on, it's not just Israel, it's not just the West Bank and Gaza, it is the countries that are surrounding it. Um, oh my God. Now, you know what? Because Bad Lefty put Clandis Owens, I'm actually going to say what that clip this person posted was about, because I was like, you're posting this like this shit is like some brand new revelation. The person is like posting the clip of Candace
Wait, did
Owens.
you send this to me on Instagram or something? Because like I want to
No,
be able to play it if possible.
Ew, no. I'll quote her. She's just talking about how Egypt warned Israel about October 7th. I'm like, girl, the American intelligence community said that. Like, literally, the Biden administration said that. That's not some secret knowledge, dude. Literally,
But
the
Black,
Biden.
no, literally, like, but Black, yeah, I was going to say, like, but Black Doofus, every single intelligence agency, including Mossad, was saying that. Like, October
Like,
7th, like, the reason why, like, I'm sorry to be crass here, but like, I just need to be honest. Can I be honest, Bam?
let's go.
The principal reasons why Netanyahu is like tapping the gas on the more genocide button is because A, before October 7th, he was up in court, and B, October 7th is, and everything that led up to it is basically Benjamin Netanyahu's moment where George W. Bush got the letter in August of 2001 to call back to, an anniversary we're about to have, where the heading says, Bin Laden determined to rip your dick off. And yell ooga booga booga. Like it is so embarrassing for him otherwise that he has to double back and like go, okay, now I'm going to go, let's use the lying Gaza Health Ministry numbers and say 60,000, even though we know it's probably quadruple that at this point. Because they've got to use something for the foundation and the mulch of Trump's new resort on the beach. But, and again, I'm so sorry for being crass here, but it's just like, it is the facts of how they talk in public. And by they, I mean the Americans who are Republicans and also Benjamin Netanyahu's government. It is an abomination. Every country, like virtually every country is failing here, except randomly South Africa, because at least they were going to the International Criminal Court and like they had people who were like arguing this stuff like very early on. And maybe there are like some other countries like, or small territories that were actually somewhat influential in some of this stuff. But
I have something to say about that too.
I'm just like, maybe there's not everything that could have been done here. And I'm really interested in what you have to say, Bam, because I'm happy to yell at you tonight. No, I'm kidding. But this, I've heard the phrase like since October 7th, and maybe I want to go back and like look at some of the clips of when Ben Dixon and Emma were on like a month after October 7th, because I think like there's one of my favorite things about Power Report is that like even these episodes that we're doing right now where things like kind of like all over the place, they hold up so well because there's so many clips I can play right there because that just show what is happening right now and what are all the faults of these things. But I'm sure what you have to say, Bam, ultimately, but I am constantly thinking about this idea of how history will look at this. And it's hard to think that history will care at a moment in America like this, but there are swings in the world and through culture ultimately until the meteor or the oil companies take us out. And so America as a country is like horrifying.
America's worse than Israel. You know, I was going to say this earlier.
Yes.
It's really like rich to see like any like, you know, Germany.
Also, Bam, I will say for my second point, head start. America had a head start.
No, yeah, absolutely. No, you know, I've been having this conversation. It's kind of nuanced. I'm not going to get into the whole thing here, but like basically we're seeing settler colonialism in real time, because this is the same thing that happened, you know, 400 years ago in the whole Western Hemisphere. But we're just seeing it now. But like America, I mean, the English, the French, the Spanish, the Portuguese, they already did this shit and created whole countries. You know what I mean? So it's rich for like, you know, France or Spain or whatever, because the Spanish king won't even apologize for colonialism. AMLO asked him a couple years ago. He was like, "No, we helped you guys out. We gave you the Catholic Church and whatever, and a cool language." But this what we're seeing right now, and what I want to say right now, like it's just happening right now. What we've been seeing, not even since 1948, since like the 1920s, about 100 years in that region, is the colonization of that land. The settlers are coming in. They're colonizing. It's happening. But going back to what you said, how will history remember this? I don't think history will remember this, because 2008 history it's not even in people's memory. 2014, not really in people's memory. 2021, obviously this is a lot crazier. But like I've said from the beginning, and I know it sounds a way. I know it does. This situation that's happening in Gaza since October 7th, but before that, but just like this, what is happening like now, which is worse than these other ones combined. I just hope something good can eventually come from it. I hope this is the last time. Like, I've been seeing these wars happening in the West Bank and Gaza for a long time. Since the second Intifada, and the first Intifada was in the 80s. I was a little young for that. But I just hope that this is the last time and something can happen concretely. I don't think America necessarily needs to be involved. I think the countries in the region, Israel is a Middle Eastern country. I know they're white and they be, you know, whatever, but it's just another Middle Eastern country. The
Sometimes
countries in
Israeli restaurants call themselves Mediterranean.
Like these countries need to get involved and figure out a way to have peace. And the thing I think that can't happen is I don't think Netanyahu can be involved in that. Like, I don't think that he's the person that can be involved in that, and like his coalition, because those people are rabid. Like those are the people that want to see like a war with everybody. That's not every single Israeli politician. There are some people that are a bit more reasonable, or you know that you know there are people in the Israeli government that want a two-state solution. To be honest with you, Israeli policy was to have a two-state solution before Netanyahu. Like, I think even Netanyahu believed that at some point, but I could be wrong about that. But I think like the official Israeli policy was to have a two-state solution. That's what needs to happen. In the meantime, it's very unfortunate that like there's all these Arab countries around, there's all these Muslim countries around that don't care. I I don't, me personally, I never had any expectation of America or any European country when it comes to this situation because they are Israel's allies. And I've been saying this for the whole since we first started talking about this. America, let's just say America. America is Israel's ally, and they're going to support Israel in the same way that America is Saudi Arabia's ally, and they're going to support Saudi Arabia. In the same way they're Egypt's ally, and they're going to support Egypt. For the longest time, the two countries that got the most aid from America, military aid, was Israel and Egypt. They were number one and number two. These are realities. But the Palestinian people don't need America. There was actually somebody on Democracy Now! Saying that the USA is like the only one that can end this genocide. I don't believe that. But in the meantime, like, yeah, I just hope that this can end soon. There can be peace, and the people just stop suffering. I don't want to see nobody die. And this is my last thing, actually, because you mentioned South Africa. South Africa, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Y'all went up there to the Netherlands. Y'all went up there and you said, y'all had a lot to say about what Israel's doing in Gaza. But it's giving a little politicky to me because I don't know how hard you went about Russia invading Ukraine. So, I'm sorry, because I'm not saying the two are equal, but your BRICS buddy over there is doing a classic George Bush / Saddam Hussein invasion. It's gross and embarrassing, actually, that you're doing that in 2025 or 2024 or whenever that shit happened, 2022. So South Africa, yeah, that's cool, but like, I don't know, dog. Keep the shit straight across the board if you're gonna do that.
That's totally fair. Counterpoint, Bam. What is the most moral country on earth?
You said what is the most moral country? Eswatini.
Yeah, who is the most?
If I'm even pronouncing it right.
Not Rwanda.
Oh God.
Which one was the one that used to be called Rhodesia?
Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe, yes.
Yeah.
That's the one. Anyways, Rhodesia. The most moral country. I'll remind you, Rachel Maddow, a Rhodes Scholar.
Stop. Stupid.
It's the same Rhodes. It's the same Rhodes.
It is the same, but no, don't do that. I got a friend that also didn't got a Rhodes Scholarship.
Bam is friends with a Rhodes Scholar. Look up what Rhodesia did, y'all. And I'm just saying, be straight across the board with it.
Who was the one that shot up the church in South Carolina? What was his name again? Dylan Roof. He had the Rhodesia flag on his jacket. I was like, I'm like, you going hard, kind of. Goddamn, you real.
Man, why'd you have to tell me that? That's like real depressing, honestly.
Oh yeah, like, he was like, oh, that's swastika.
We were laughing, we were joking, and then you had to like remind that, and like
he was like, that swastika is cute. The lightning bolt, that's cute, but I'm going deep. This is a Rhodesia flag. He probably had a Kurdish flag too. No, I'm joking.
Nika says, and no, I'm not saying that like the Nika. Jamed says, sorry, yeah, Jamed. But it's in parentheses. Anyways, they use the same tactics against Gaza as they've used against us Native Americans here. They even lied saying Hamas did whatever, just like they said we did during the scalping when it was white people.
Dead ass.
That's
straight
real.
up.
And like that scalped us. Yeah, like I missed Ben live because I had a headache. So glad to see y'all having this conversation. Maybe me talking about Ben Dixon, but I hope it's okay for me to join y'all in this convo. I'm in an uber emotional and fired up about this. I think it's again, like if you pay taxes in America, if you pay sales tax in America, if you bought something in a Western country today, or have in the past 2 years or the past 10 years or ever in your entire life, you've contributed a little bit to this massacre, essentially, right? Like, because of how much support that like these countries have gotten for so long. And you know, America especially, for sure. Like, I'm again, like, not all countries are equal. I'm sure Papua New Guinea has also, you know, contributed to the genocide as well. I'm kidding.
No, but like, like going back to what they said, you know, I think like this is a time, you know, and I have these conversations with people in my like,
sorry, just to finish my point really quickly. Like, it is difficult to like, it's hard to acknowledge continuing going throughout your daily life and knowing that this is happening. I was talking about like the monetary benefit, but like it's just so difficult to do that and know that like this is happening. And it's the banality of evil. It's there's like a movie that was kind of like about this as well recently. I forget what it's called right now, but it's just terrible. But yeah, Bam, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like you know, I'm boring and I always like to, you know, connect the current events with history and stuff. And I think it's important for people, especially us on the left, to realize like, you know, we're here in America and the exact same thing that's happening in Palestine is what happened here. Like, and I was having a broader conversation about this, about like what Israel is and what it could become, because, you know, I'll say it fast, but, you know, you often see like, and I'm just going to make it very plain. The white leftist will talk about Israel and say like those Israeli citizens, those settlers need to leave. And like the Palestinians have the right of return. And I'm like, well, yo, you're also the descendant of settlers, you know? Like you are also the descendant of settlers. I'm not mad at you about that, but who knows what could happen in Israel? Like, could Israel just end up like America? And it's like, yeah, like now you have people that are like looking at some other country, like, yeah, y'all need to leave over there in like Taiwan or some shit. Like, I don't know. But that's just like when you look at settler colonialism, like what we're seeing in Gaza is a genocide. It is a famine. It is a forced famine. And this is how,
and it's really fast. But like, I hope people who are only taking right now to publicly say that, or were poo-pooing people who were saying this before, similar to the people who are warning that Donald Trump is a fascist, like, don't sleep well at night. Don't have an afterlife, honestly.
You interrupt me now for what I was saying, but this is how but you were saying like, you know, like this is a genocide, this is a famine, like, yeah. Like these countries, like this is how they were created. The Europeans came in there and they did a genocide. Don't let them tell you that, you know, they were just carrying smallpox and the Indians didn't know how to adapt to it. No, they killed them, they shot them, they killed their food sources. Go look at all the those big piles of buffalo and stuff. They hunted them down. They enslaved them. They took them to other countries. They put them on boats. They took people from like what's today the Philippines. The Spanish took them and brought them to Mexico. They took indigenous people from the Americas and took them to like Algeria and stuff like that. This is what happened on these lands right here, like where you live now, and you see like an American person goes their whole life without meeting an indigenous person. Their whole entire life, they never seen one. They never knew, or they seen something on in their social studies book. They don't know. I used to spend all that time in Alabama. They don't know that all these cities are named after indigenous cities or people, or Mississippi and Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Tuskegee and stuff. They don't even know. Yeah, right. They don't even know.
Tennessee.
And right, and I really hope that doesn't happen in Palestine.
Montauk.
Right, where
Ron
you live
Konkoma.
now. Where you live now. I really hope that doesn't happen in Palestine, where it's just, people of Polish and Russian descent with a few Ethiopians sprinkled in there, and it's like, it's just the name of the street is Beit Lahia, or like that's just the neighborhood somebody lives in, and there's no very, very little indigenous,
or they call it like Bela, like the same way they do like Soho. They just like shorten it.
Right,
the term.
exactly.
Like,
That's actually a great point. That was actually brilliant. That might be the funniest thing you ever said. Like I really hope that doesn't happen there, and the way that won't happen there, truly, is if those those other countries in that region don't let it happen. You can't be relying on America and France and Germany. These are the people that did the shit. Them other countries got to step in and say, look, we're not going to let you completely erase the Palestinian identity. We're not going to let that happen. We're not just going to take them here. No, we're going to figure some shit out. Or I'm going to have to smack some shit up.
No, there's so much good you said there. I was almost forgetting about it, but like, I want to get to the Arab countries piece as well, because you're going off in the intro, but there's so many different angles to go off on this, and I want to read some comments. Nika says it means bear in Chickasaw.
Now Bam's gonna say he's part Chickasaw right now. Let's hear it. Let's hear it, Dan. Come on, let's get another one.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Bam was gonna do that too.
No, come on, let's get another ethnicity, or let's get another one in there. Belgian, Japanese, El Salvador, Mexico, Madagascar, England. Let's get another one.
Israeli.
Okay, go ahead. I'm gonna use the restroom. I'll be right back.
Damn it, I was gonna use the restroom right now. It's okay. Let's see if there's any more comments as well, because there's just like so much here. But yeah, Nika, you were going off, and thank you for as well talking about this. But Felix Biederman said, I'm gonna wait till Bam gets back, because I want this to be like a bar, and I want to see how he reactions to this, because it's really good. Yeah, I did also want to mention that an Israeli settler shot one of the key collaborators, Odeh Hatalin, or Adwa Hatalin, who worked on the Oscar-winning documentary No Other Land, and he was just like shot dead by a settler. Again, another one of these terrible incidents that's kind of done with impunity, because he was shooting people. Not only did he just like shoot that one person, but he was firing his gun at other people who were like, upset and arguing and things like that. Like, in America, of course, you have police who kill people with impunity, but in the West Bank, for settlers, it's like you're empowering an entire ethnicity to do the work of the IDF, do the work of Netanyahu on a vigilante basis. It's really shocking. Let's see. Bam, I was just talking about the... Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, because I heard a little bit of what you said. I want to see if you were talking about what I thought you were.
What do you think I was talking about?
Well, were you talking about the soldier that shot the Israeli guy in Israel, or no?
No, I was talking about the... I mean, morbid joke, but like there's just happened so much, and there is so much that is happening. So, fair enough. But I was going to. What I was talking about was the person who helped who helped make the film No Other Land, was shot by the settler, and how, you know, I was just saying that like cops can kill in America with impunity pretty much, but in the West Bank, settlers can do the work of the IDF, IOF, Netanyahu, and they can act. I'm not sure how you quantify worse, honestly, so I hesitate to even use that phrase. But I liked where I landed, where I said vigilantes.
Oh yeah.
They kind of like do this on their own term. Was it 2 days? Was it 3 days? What did they actually get?
Nothing, basically. No, those people in the West, settlers in the West Bank can do whatever they want. Like, they rarely get any real charges. Like, it's very rare. There was something, it's funny because, it's often talked about like the left is like all about identity politics, but like Israel is such an ethno state. There was a clip that came out recently. There was an IDF soldier who there was like some Israeli citizen he seemed like he was like senile or maybe had dementia. He's an older man, and he was like trying to open a door to somewhere. And the Israeli soldier is trying to get this person to not open this door, basically. But the part about it, and he ends up shooting and killing this old man. But the part about it that was really telling to me was the soldier kept on asking him, "Are you Israeli? Are you Israeli? Are you Israeli? No, I'm sorry, not Israeli. Are you Jewish? Are you Jewish? Are you Jewish?" He keeps on asking. The guy is completely like, he's out of it, but he's trying to open this door. And the soldier has his gun pointed at him. "Are you Jewish? Are you Jewish?" And the guy eventually says, they're speaking Hebrew. The guy eventually says like, "Yeah, I'm Jewish." And then he's still opening the door, and he's like acting, out of his mind or whatever. And the Israeli soldier shoots him. Why did he keep on asking him, "Are you Jewish?" Because if he said, "No, I'm not Jewish," he would have just shot him. No question. Like, he wouldn't have hesitated to shoot him if he says, "No, I'm Arab," or "No, I'm Christian," or whatever. Like, "No, I'm Palestinian." He would have just shot him. But he's asking him, "Are you Jewish? Are you Jewish?" To give him like a little bit of leeway to like act this way. And that, like, Israel is like such an ethno state like that. But once again, that's how all these colonial projects were. The difference between like that and here, here in like and like what happened in like the America's colonialism, you could see the person, you could tell who your enemy was. The settlers know basically if you're brown or black, like, yeah, you're the enemy, and any like white person, like, you're cool. They could just see it on you. But there in Israel, it's like, wait, I got to figure out, because obviously there are a lot of Arab Israeli citizens or non-Jewish Israeli citizens. But yeah, it was just really crazy to me. I was like, wow, like, you're seeing like this real apartheid state in action. He did not want to shoot somebody who's Jewish. He didn't want to. He ended up shooting and killing him. But yeah, it was crazy. And it's just, and I'm not saying, I'm not like comparing the two, like what happened here in the Americas and other places, to be clear. I'm not comparing it with Israel to say like, oh, it's okay. Like, oh, that's just how it is. No, they're both terrible. I just think that it's important to bring the historical context and to not like forget that we are products of that same reality. Obviously Nika here has a different perspective from that reality. Dan and I have a different perspective from that reality. But there are a lot of people, including our friends on the left, who are the descendants of settlers, And maybe their settlers don't go back. Dan is eating like a straight piece of cheese. Maybe they, maybe they're maybe like their descendants don't go all the way back to like the original English settlers, or if it's in Latin America, maybe their descendants don't go all the way back to the original Spanish colonizers or whatever. But if you're a white person,
or
in
the
America,
original African slaveholders,
or that, which was probably all Dan's people, but in Madagascar. But either way, like in this country here in America, like, you know, if your people go back to, you know, whenever y'all came here in 1911 or goddamn 1870s, gangs in New York, who the hell knows? Like you still benefited from like that colonial settler past. Now, Bad Lefty is from Ireland, and Ireland. Where's Philippe at? Because the Irish got it really, really bad from the English. Like they got it bad, and they are colonized people too. You know, still up there in Northern Ireland. You know, we'll see. I want to read this comment while you eat just a random slice of cheese. And I often get that
I don't
feeling.
have much to eat. This is the best I can do right now.
Balling, buying vegan cheese when he's poor. No, I'm just joking. And I often get that feeling like I'm too pale to have a right to the pain I feel and the blood I have. I literally have my ancestors' face, and my lack of complexion leaves me often feeling like I haven't the right to love my people as much as I do. Well, I mean, far be it from me to tell you how to feel, but you know, everybody's mixed up. You know, like, look, I'm dark skinned as hell. One of my great uncles was light skinned as hell. We're all mixed up. You know, who knows how we're supposed to look or whatever. So I like, you know, I'll say this and I'll shut the hell up. Dan's like, look, it's my turn. I'll say this.
Now I'm about to get
like,
a slice of cheese.
So freaking vegan pepper jack. I'll say this, Nika.
Nika.
Sorry, Nika. Don't let like the American way of viewing like race cloud like how you feel on the inside. Because American
100,000%.
You know what I mean? Like American like ideas about race and how somebody looks and shit is so effing backwards. Like Americans are dumb off the rip, so of course Americans are gonna like have ideas of race in itself is a social construct. It's not even real. So, but we're just using this word. But just like don't let please stupid. Don't let like how America views. Nika, you're an indigenous person from here in America. There's indigenous people from in Sweden and Finland. And you know what they look like? They look like Vladimir Putin. And you know, and they literally have this wear like the same traditional clothes as you see here from indigenous people in America, or you see people in Siberia. They are, and there's a big tribe that's called Sami, Sami. Look them up. You look up the Sami people, you're gonna think that was Heidi Klum, but these are indigenous people. You're gonna be like, why is somebody that looks like freaking Donald Trump in a teepee, literally? So, yeah, don't let America. Don't let. Oh, and there's also a really good, the Reindeer Farmers, Lefty knows. And there's also a really good movie. It's on Canopy. It's called Sami Blood. Really dope. But yeah, don't let America make you feel how.
And why do you like that? No, I'm kidding. I don't want you to go into the whole movie, but like, I'm just saying the title is a little bit.
Okay,
whoa.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do. Let me do a little bit of actually synopsis because it kind of has to. No, yes, I am. Okay. Because it actually has to do with what Nick is saying. Actually, that movie Sami Blood is actually about two young girls in, I don't know what year it's supposed to be in Sweden, but one of them decides to stay with like the Sami people, like traditionally live, and the other one decides to go pass for like a Swedish person, and she lives her life as just like a Scandinavian Swedish person, and then they kind of come back together. It is a really interesting movie. I don't know if it's on anywhere else other than Canopy with the K, but it's a really good movie.
No, that's really resonant. There was some comment that was like, hold on, it was up here, and maybe I can't see. StreamYard's interface keeps changing, so I can't always see things I'm trying to see. But someone was asking if I was going to talk about, like, oh, here we go. Cover talk about the PG Lang short that was going around earlier. I actually don't know what you're talking about, but that sounds like an Audio Face thing, honestly. Yeah, but I tried to do Audio Face this weekend and maybe try to investigate that. I was even looking a little bit while I was not paying attention to what Bam was saying right now. But no. Like, honestly, like, that is really true. Like, the only thing I might add on that is, like, it's not just the American. I'm just gonna take this down because I want to, like, it's a good comment. I want to address it in a moment, right? But like, it's not just the American construct of race. It is so many other European, I'll say it, European countries construct of race. Even
Right.
like the sort of like East Asian racism that you kind of understand from there is influenced by European like diasporic racism and like trade through all that and like
Even Latin America, all of it, everywhere.
all of it. Yeah. Like that is where a lot of that comes from. So don't let Eurocentric standards of what looks like what, or, you know, like paint swatches at your local Harbor Freight, like make you figure out like what is a you know, what passes and what makes sense. All right, like you are you do you. Yeah, that is how that should work.
I'll put it back up because I can do that.
Please do.
I this person RMT watcher, that is a bar because
Read it.
yeah, in America, at least in America, yeah, like at one point whiteness
No, Bam, read the quote and then respond.
Okay. Whiteness is amorphous. The definitions have been changing to suit a perception of what's most advantageous to the in the moment. Hierarchies of whiteness are always changing too. 100%.
Yes.
Because, you know, now there's like Lebanese Christian people are white. You know what I mean? When at one point, like even like Irish people weren't white, you know, like
Armenians, or as Cenk Uygur says, Armenians.
Yeah, Armenians are white. Cenk Uygur thinks he's white.
A lot of Turks pass white.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, for sure, if they just like didn't have that name, then they'd be fine. But yeah, for sure, like it's often changing, and it's just not like it's our reality, but like it don't got to be our reality like in our heart. Even when it comes, it's funny. Me and Caesar talked about this some time ago, talking about Brazil and blackness in Brazil, because Caesar's idea of blackness is influenced by America, whereas like blackness in Brazil is different. I was telling Caesar, I'm like, Caesar, me and you are different in Brazil, like because I'm dark skinned and you're like, you know, caramel skin. Like that's a different caste. You know what I mean? Like you're fine, but me, like I'm the maid. You know what I mean? like so like
You're in the fields, Bam. Don't be so kind to you. Be honest.
Damn it, I'm a field, but don't say it. Don't say it.
You're a news show, and that is what happened in the news.
Are you supposed to say my N-word?
No. I want to be, you know, surprising. But, you know, just because you asked for it.
N-word.
There we go. I'm in the fields with those. Bad Life said I need to come home to Ireland. I really do, but
Let's get it popping.
But yeah, there's so much around this. I'm really glad we had somebody in here to like not just have me talking to myself. but but yeah, and honestly, I feel like it's also a conversation on the left that needs to be had. I'm going to say this like, very quick, and I'll shut up.
No. I want you to keep going.
No, I do think it's important to recognize what's happening in Palestine and Gaza specifically right now, but what's happened in Palestine over the last like 100 or so years is the exact same thing that happened where you live, except for Bad Lefty.
I mean, Brad Lefty was saying something about like racism towards Ukrainians. I want him to like elaborate on that, but Nico was also
what's wrong with that?
I did it wrong. Nico was also saying, I mean, Zelensky was a comedian. Nico, it's so hard not to be gaslit in this hyper individualized society that capitalism and the patriarchy of oligarchs insist on to keep us suppressed. I even speak my language daily. I am not fully fluent, but I speak the language every day. Yeah, it's really hard. I wish I spoke all of the languages of my many Portuguese ancestors.
French, Dutch, Madagascan French, Creole, Japanese, Spanish. Okay.
Luxembourgish Portuguese.
Oh God.
Equatorial Guinean, Equatorial Ghanaian.
Ooh, damn. Flexing.
No, you didn't think I was that good at geography, did you? Both of those are like, you could say something about the equator in both of those countries. I know
Bad Lefty's talking about like the immigrants, like the whole freaking Brexit. They were talking about like Polish immigrants taking the job and shit, like taking jobs.
Yeah, that's true. British, like the whole. I'm sorry, but that entire island does not like Eastern Europe. I mean, like Top Gear had unnecessary smoke for everybody, but they hit hard on like the Albanians, the Serbians, the Russians, the Greeks. Like honestly, like they were just like left and right, and that's pretty genetic. Not to defend them, but just saying. That's they had when I was in England, they had mugs, like like coffee mugs, and they were called Polish mugs because the handle was on the inside of the mug.
Not funny. Not funny. Not funny.
Not funny, right?
Not funny.
They should pull Bush era and call them American mugs at this point, or call them Brexit mugs.
There's always like a country, like there's always like those like country national rivalries where like one of the countries is saying like this other one, those people are dumb. And I know like Persian people are like that about Turkish people. And I've heard those jokes and they are hilarious, but like that's just like some old school shit.
Yeah, like this, you hear it everywhere.
Right.
Do you want to? We've blown through half of the show already.
Getting late out here too.
I think we want. Do we want to talk about Sudan?
I don't know how much Africa our audience has in them, but I'm down.
Let's save that for a little bit later. Not to say our audience can't handle it. I'm just like, every show is talking about this to some extent. I think like we provide a pretty like, our own perspective on it. And especially Bam provides a really good one. What was that?
Oh, really? Okay. That's okay. They're talking about Sudan. All right.
No. Sorry, not Sudan. I meant Palestine.
Oh.
Of course not Sudan. Actually, the socialist MMA leftist guy on Twitter has a lot of nuanced thoughts on Sudan. No. Again, he's the guy who blames Zelensky. He blames climate change on Zelensky. Like it's just we're not serious here. Like I'd rather have dinner with Brianna Jordan. who finally changed. Anyways, I'm still getting used to the computer here, so forgive me. And God, I need my computer back because this one's mad slow. It's kind of annoying. But I don't know. Bam dealer's choice. Do you want to talk about the ICE raids? Do you want to talk about more like AI creep? Because I think that's an interesting thing we could talk about. Do you want to talk about the gerrymandering war? There's a hilarious tweet I saw about how Democrats could like start gerrymandering states like Texas is talking about. So yeah. What do you feel in domestic? I know you don't do domestic news that much, but we can change.
No, let's talk about gerrymandering. Gerrymandering.
Really? You want to pull?
No, I'm done. I've been saying going back some years now that we really need one of those viral Netflix documentaries about gerrymandering. Like we really need one of those.
We had a couple, but like it's just been a long time.
But like one of the viral ones, like every once in a while, there's like a documentary that everybody watches, like Blackfish. But yeah, we need one about gerrymandering.
You want Squid Games, but for like gerrymandering?
No, it's not gonna be viral like that because that's like people are dying and that's always fun. But viral for a documentary, like we need something about we need like Matt Damon narrating it or some shit. Like,
are we ready? Oh yeah, you like we need basically like Inside Job, which
exactly
we could go even more viral than that, but like for popularizing the phrase like credit default swaps, you have to give that movie its props, like honestly, and forgetting celebrities to like not go full Sydney Sweeney and like get all provocative, but like get celebrities to like actually explain these complicated things using analogies that I think poker is outside of Utah not that provocative.
They were
really give it to them.
They were in Iceland for part of it, and people didn't just leave.
Even The Big Short too. RMT Watcher with another banger saying, gerrymandering Dems, no unilateral disarmament, damn it. I think I said this in another show recently, but like I've definitely said it for a long time. And I've alluded to it even on Audio Face, but court packing is good. You want to talk about constitutional originalism? There's no rule that says there need to be 9 Supreme Court justices. The only reason I hesitate saying this is because I hope I don't blow up to such a point that people start watching old clips and come across this one, and then Trump gets the idea to like start doing court packing. Because I think I made this point now that's coming back to me. I don't think any Democrat should run on this because it's too good. And like, it's just gonna give like it's gonna be like, Zoran Mamdani and glorify the globalize the Intifada, rather. It's gonna be like one of those like this is a show about nothing sort of issues. But I will know if the next Democratic president is serious, inshallah that we get there, if on day one they load 20 Supreme Court justices who with bachelor degrees public universities
from Cal State LA
who are first generation immigrants who we are going to do the paint swatch test and we're going to go in the other direction than usual. And they've got to be like literally minimum age 23. Like if you don't pack 20 of them bitches on there, you're not serious. You've got to not rig the system, but you got to play the system 40 times as hard as Republicans have, and also punish the worst Republicans within the bounds of the national and international legal system everyone who has committed rights violations and other crimes during this administration. And I'm happy to go with other administrations as well. But like, obviously, you got to go with this one because this just has the most immediate interact. I learned about Eswatini because of Donald Trump.
And neither of us know if we're pronouncing it right. I think I am, but I don't know.
You are. I Googled it. It's Eswatini. Unless it's Eswatini or something. Like, we're getting it wrong,
Yeah, we have talked about this on Power Report before. I feel like it was like 2 years ago, and I don't want to be like serious about it. So fuck it.
It was 2 months ago. Wait. Also, sorry. One last thing. I wanted to show this map, or this graphic. So it's very funny. It's basically like I'm assembling a team. And it's what California would look like if you gerrymandered it for Democrats only and it was entirely blue. And like California, like, even if you don't know the geography of California, like, it can be kind of confusing to see like how much it almost looks like, honestly, how it looks already because of where the population is. But it gets really funny when you look at New York and like all the lines are just like slicing New York and bringing it upstate as much as possible, so that you have like you have like Cornell and like Ithaca, New York, and Flatbush.
Right.
Dude, it gets better. It gets better.
It's freaking Garrison, Illinois. New York. Oh, that's hilarious. That is so funny. Oh my God. That is too funny. Yo, don't do that to Whitey.
Oh, no.
Don't do that to Whitey, please, because they're going to start literally making dirty bombs and we're all dead.
250 simultaneous Wacos.
Like literally, like Ruby Ridges,
Colorado.
Like and freaking Pulse nightclubs, like they're all happening like right now.
So,
that looks like a printer malfunction.
Dude, you seen this Colorado joint, right?
Oh my God, hold on, let me see. Oh my God, that's too funny. We're letting the freaking Pumas and freaking Black Bears vote. Oh my God.
I thought we were going to Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton era Pumas. Remember the party unity my ass people? Who was bitter that Hillary Clinton lost to a black.
That one is insane because it's just such big, but it's like Colorado it's like 4 cities, ain't shit there for real.
Yeah, I mean, like, to be fair, the Rocky Mountains are a hell of a drug, and that takes up a lot of the state. You're not building cities there, all right? Like, it's like you can't blame them at that point, but also I think the bigger your airport is, the less important your city is. Because if you have that much space to build a big airport, like, what are we doing here? Atlanta.
But Denver has the Illuminati airport or whatever.
Yeah, no. They have the Satan airport. Sean would know more about it. But anyways. The gerrymandering thing, let me see if I can get some more stuff about it here.
Beto O'Rourke was talking about it recently.
Yo soy Beto.
My big homie. I don't know if he's gonna run again, but he should. But yeah, he was talking about it recently too.
Yeah. I just noticed that, damn it. But
Nicholas from Colorado. Okay, really fast before you go, Dan. Really cool documentary about in Colorado called The Holly. That was a really good one. It's about gang violence.
All never mind. I'm gonna do it. Remember
Let's
when
go.
Anna Kasparian before the election was like, "Oh, you know what's the real issue in Aurora, Colorado? Trenderagua or MSF, whatever gang they were talking about. That was like the flavor of the month. That was like, getting into these apartments, holding
buildings,
people
yeah.
hostage. It's like." And you know, this was like the appetizer for Trump's eating the cats, eating the dogs thing, which is basically, which is, in my opinion, how he won the election.
Thanks, Haitians.
Hey, dude, keep it down. They're just down the street from me. Yeah, it is trendy or walkward, baby. And yeah, Jamed knows that his name is Blucifer. Bad Lefty saying, I've been playing too much City Skylines again. Actually, I don't have my good computer. I have my crappy computer. And this entire stream is like things have been glitchy and they've been slow. And it's like not my usual setup. I'm just like, oh, I need to get my computer back. Like it's super fast. Anyway. But okay, what else do we want to talk about? We went through that story really, you know, unusually quickly. Let's say that. We'll save Sudan for a little bit. Do you want to
I think Sudan's gonna go fast too.
play? Huh?
I said I think Sudan's gonna go fast too.
What'd you say?
I said I think Sudan's gonna go fast too.
Well, okay, I'm on a delay, so I'll try to fix that in a moment. Like I'll tee up this next story and then I'll like quit and refresh. But can we really quickly play Pete Buttigieg's response to someone on a podcast about trans people?
Oh, yeah.
And then after that, I want to also play Booker's, fake, it's like, now he gets some bass in his voice type thing.
That was homophobic.
Actually, I'm gonna wow. Cory Booker's straight passing.
Oh no.
Honestly, the way I said that was homophobic. Just the whole tone I said that was homophobic, and I'm queer. So yeah, I'm gonna play a little bit of this clip, and then I want you to react to it. Bam. Let's get this up here.
Okay.
That's why I'm standing here. Don't question my integrity. Don't question my motive, officers. I'm standing for the Constitution.
Huh? Did you say something?
No.
Okay, sorry. Again, my setup is bad. I'm just gonna start it over again.
That's why I'm standing here. Don't question my integrity. Don't question my motives. I'm standing for Jersey. I am standing for my police officers. I'm standing for the Constitution, and I'm standing for what's right. And dear God, if you want to come at me that way, you're going to have to take it up with me. Because it's running around this country, picking people up off the streets who have a legal right to be here. There's too much going on in this country. When are we going to stand together for principles that I just heard that were agreed with? When are we going to stand together?
If you want to come and get me, then you're going to have to come and get me. When are we going to be principled about principles? Man, this is I want to refresh because like there's such a delay, but I want to hear what you want to say about this.
Corey, yo, dude, like I didn't do nothing to you. Why are you screaming at
Corey
me?
in the house.
Look, it's very performative. But you know what? Let me keep it a stack. Do like the people, and I'm saying like the people. Like, do the people care about policy and shit, or do they want to see this? Like, I don't know, but I don't know really if that's what people want to see is him acting tough. Like, maybe that's what people want to see because Donald Trump get up there and say all kinds of crazy shit and people love it. So maybe Cory Booker having his eyes wide open and screaming on whoever's there, like, who are you screaming at? I heard him say something about like Democrats, we gotta fight or whatever. I was like, well, I think y'all are kind of like, I don't know like who you're calling out, but like, I think that what he's
some
doing,
are like.
I mean,
Schumer
some of them
isn't.
Chuck Schumer's calling for the Epstein files though, but I think that Cory
Only
Booker
because Robert Garcia, and you know, I'm sorry, especially because it's lagging and annoying, but like Robert Garcia, quickly becoming one of my favorite Congresspeople, and I know I'm biased, but he's on the House Oversight Committee now because Geriatric Connolly kicked the bucket, and AOC is like, fuck it, y'all are on your own. But we actually got to see him subpoena the Department of Justice and give them 30 days to hand over the Epstein files, and actually is catching them on the back seat. So all these Democrats who are saying, oh, there's nothing you can do. Yeah, there's something Democrats can do. And I will say, like, it's taken too long for Democrats overall to find the gumption and understand that like fighting is popular and standing up to this is the thing, not only just like the morally correct thing to do, but the politically advantageous thing to do. And I will also say that I am someone who in the first month of the Trump administration told Robert Garcia that he needs to both himself and tell other Democrats in his caucus to fight harder. And I did that in person, not taking any credit or anything, but this is like, you know, to your point, like, I don't think there's a spectrum of Democrats who are, you know, doing different things. And I like the way you had this perspective of let's keep it Iraq, not Iran. This is like I have in the Chiron below, like, this is kind of fan service. There's a lot of liberals who are going to eat this up and be like, yeah, Cory Booker used to be this like happy warrior type who would keep things positive, but God damn it, you have to get angry. And it's again, like, there are people who like, ooh, Pete Buttigieg is swearing. He's really serious now.
right.
And I'm
Right.
and you know, like, it's I think it's a good point. I'll also say that, you know, and I've had this thought even in the context of like Stephen Colbert and Jon Stewart, right? Like, I was talking with the Sachi, the producer, and I was like, man, with Colbert and Jon Stewart and South Park, which I don't even like that much, but like they're having a moment right now with criticizing Trump, largely rightfully so. And, you know, notably all three of them on a network that paid a settlement to Trump and is appeasing him largely to, it appears like he's appeasing him largely to make sure that a merger can go through so that the son of an already extremely wealthy person is able to now have a media network because, you know, all the media is liberal. And, but like, there's such a tendency to want to like live out in these moments because there's nostalgia for those times when Stephen Colbert would do those funny things in character, or like Jon Stewart did the go fuck yourself like gospel choir thing, which was honestly one of my favorite bits from the old Jon Stewart Daily Show. And yeah, like South Park in general, like which has always been kind of like a libertarian show, and people got mad at me because I said it was skibbity toilet for millennials. And it's just like, it's the same like lowbrow humor that like is deep if you think about it, but also like not really that much. Like it's not that groundbreaking. But the fact that they just took like $1 billion to like make more episodes, they're contractually required to make more episodes, and all of their episodes are now making fun of Donald Trump and conservatives at this moment and at this time. Like, these are all pretty ballsy things. But the reason why I say all this, like Cory Booker's performative stuff, the literal performances that these entertainers are doing right now to get political, and the reactions to that people are liking it, I think that's just a reflection of like what we're kind of saying in this country, and like it's a reality check for people on the left who are like a little bit more principled with these things, or like try to say they are. And like even within the left, there are people who are like, are on all different kinds of spectrums of principled, let's say, to keep it nicely and keep it succinct. But I'm not saying you can't like nice things or can't have fun things or can't just like enjoy and live out for a moment. And I think overall, we should have this perspective of reaching out to liberals who are like really upset and radicalizable in this moment and trying to like help them along on that path, because the popularity of these frankly vapid and weak, and I'll remind you, this is Trump's second administration. These same people could have been going hard in the paint in the first administration and get kind of where, but not to this extent. All these people were basically cashing in on keeping it safe. But there are so many more people who will fall for this than people who are on the left. And I think that's just like a reality check for how much work there is to be done. Like, again, we said this earlier in the show, everything between October 7th and November 7th, 2023 should have been enough. But it has taken damn near 700 days, over 650 days, for the centrist liberal position, people who would have been liberal Zionists before, people who are saying, Hamas bombed their own hospital within that same month period back then, right? These people are now saying, okay, the starvation crisis is too far. This many starving babies is just enough, right? Like, there's more people out there like that than there are people who saw this coming and were like, oh, day one, I know what's going to happen. Month one, I know what's going to happen. Or like month one, I know this is atrocious and I'm like morally against it and I'm going to stand up and fight against this. There's more people out there who are close to this stuff than not. But this is a moment kind of like Black Lives Matter and COVID, where if we like, take it on the chin and do some like internal work on understanding that fact, we can use the energy of people who are attracted to what Colbert or Cory Booker or whoever is doing and channel that towards people like Omar Fateh out in Minneapolis, Minnesota, who's another Democratic socialist who got the Democratic Party's endorsement and is basically a shoo-in because Minneapolis is, not impossibly to be a red city. But even when Republican won in the landslide, was his opponent like Walter Mondale or something? He was from Minnesota and he won Minnesota. So it's another shoe-in, like blue-in kind of place there. Yeah, I just like people like Zoran Mamdani, people like, I'm shouting out Kenneth Mejia out in Los Angeles. There's a bunch of people like this who are pushing the party forward, and you can bring liberals along with that ride and start to push them along. And, it's taken my 14th point. It's taken a long time for Bam and I to get as jaded as we are to be able to like, okay, I can take on a first pass, enjoy whatever is coming out of here. But ultimately, like you said, there's a lot of people to where this works on. And there's a lot more of those people than there are those of us on the left. It took us a long time to get that jaded. we didn't come out the room that we came out the room probably more jaded than average, but it's an overtime progression to hey, not all of us came out that dark, but just got the bangers tonight. But everyone has their own journey, and you can be much more helpful in getting more people to your side than arguing on the internet by just going, yeah, you know, you might not even have to challenge friends, but it's just like just dropping in conversation when people who maybe were giving the benefit of the doubt to Israel and still do. I saw an ad, 15th point, but I'm just gotta say, like, I got a targeted ad today where Israel was quoting the New York Times and saying they got a photo of a kid who looked like all skin and bones and they were, you know, starving in Gaza, but that's not true. That kid had pre-existing conditions.
Oh God.
That kid had different diseases. He's not skin and bones because he was starving. Sure, he maybe didn't have a lot to eat that day because, you know, he's maybe watching it's the summer. He wants to have a good body and everything. But no, like, there's people who are still falling for this, like, Hasbro already. But for the people who did before, who are now coming around and starting to say, oh, maybe this isn't that bad. Just casually throw in there, yeah, it's a shame it took people this long to realize it.
Yeah, for sure. I think also, like, even I mean, I don't know how many people that others know, but even just to get people to be to be politically engaged, you know, and I mean actually, not just like online, like to actually go vote or to send in their ballot or something too. Like, I think even that is important because, you know, I don't want to like say what I think the number is, but for sure there's a lot of people that are posting stuff on their Instagram that don't, you know, vote. and that's okay. I'm not mad at them, but they probably wouldn't tell you that they don't. But yeah, I think it's important just to even get people politically engaged. And Dan, I like what you said too, because it is the truth that people like us that are like leftists, quote unquote, like there's a lot more people that are just kind of are not like our kind of left. Like there's a lot more people that are not like so plugged into politics and stuff that they have these positions. And just going back to Cory Booker, it's like, yeah, I don't know if that's working on people. I think somebody put in the chat that they heard somebody talking about it on the train and they were like gushing over it. You know, like for me, like I'm not mad at that. Like, okay, if that makes you like, but and the reason why I'm not mad at it in particular is because we're in unprecedented times. Like this isn't going up against Mitt Romney or John McCain or freaking Jeb Bush. You know, like we have a unique threat in like the Trump movement. And for me, I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for anybody else. If Cory Booker's the person to get your ass off the couch, okay, go Cory, you know, like, because I just think it's like a unique situation. Like Viktor Orban, you know, who's been in power, I don't know how long, has just gotten hungry to go more and more and more to the right, taking over the media, taking over like all these different things, with a mandate because he was getting elected, you know, he's gotten elected. There's, you know, and let me just shout out the queer community of Hungary and the surrounding nations who, when they banned Pride in Budapest, they showed up and showed out. It was looking lit. It was the only time I ever thought maybe I would go to Hungary. But then the day after, I was like, no, I don't want to go anymore because Pride's over. But you know, there are like right-wing despots in the world that Trump models himself after, we could end up in a situation that is very bleak. And, you know, the American democracy is flawed, very flawed. Would I go for Kenyan Pride? Stupid. You're gonna get killed in Kenyan Pride. They're like banning alcohol. They're like, y'all are drinking too much and doing gay stuff. We gotta ban alcohol and shit.
Yeah, if you got to do that, you got to be in office.
But no, Lefty, don't worry. I'm never going to Hungary. But
Visa revoked. Like,
but
any attempt I would have ever gone to Kenya is not.
but if Cory Booker yelling into the ether with his eyes very wide open, just really seeming very frustrated with his own life and not politics. I'm not going to say why he might be frustrated. Oh no. If that's what's going to get somebody, if that's what's going to get somebody off the couch to participate, I'm for it. And when there's Cory Booker versus a Mamdani or Robert Garcia or whatever, just like for an example, then it's like, yeah, this is why this person is better than Cory Booker. Cory Booker is this, and this person's trying to do this, and that. You know, we needed Cory Booker for that time. Now we need Dan. Because then when Dan runs for office, I can use our group chat as a way to extort Dan.
Release the files. Can I play the Pete Buttigieg?
Yes, because he's on the hot seat. Oh no.
Whoa, man. I'm trying to. I can't find like the actual video on this, but I think the approach starts with compassion for transgender people, compassion for families, especially young people who are going through this, and also empathy for people who are not sure what all this means for them, like wondering, wait a minute, I got a daughter in a sports league. Is she going to be competing with boys now?
Oh God.
And just taking everybody seriously. And I think when you do that, that does call into question some of the past orthodoxies in my party, for example, around sports, where I think it's most reasonable. I think most reasonable people would recognize that there are serious fairness issues if we just treat this as not mattering when a trans athlete wants to compete in women's sports. And I think when you do that, that does call into question. Oh, sorry, I'm rereading that. Meaning the parent who's complained about this has a case, in your opinion, sure. And that's why I think these decisions should be in the hands of sports leagues and school boards and not politicians. Less of all politicians in Washington trying to use this as a political pawn. Because we all know that sports leagues and school boards are never influenced by politicians. There's no time in recent memory, especially not in Pete Buttigieg's lifetime or, in Pete Buttigieg's Dory fish from Finding Nemo ass memory of just the past couple of months where Trump has been able to bully every single estate and institution in this country, from the legal institutions, public and private, to educational institutions, public and private, to media organizations, public and private. He is weaponizing the government against these entities more than any president, at least in my lifetime. And I'm pretty sure you can go back even further. I'm being generous. Again, Andrew Jackson's always like kind of like one of the king asshole presidents to me. Like, you can definitely get worse for some of the eldership as far as like bombastic, obvious, like, no redeemable qualities. Like Andrew Jackson is definitely one of those. But yeah, I think this is another like Pete Buttigieg eloquent gobbledygook thing where, I'm not going to say that. I'm definitely not going to say that. But No, because honestly, like, you know, it's just there's just no winning with that statement in context or out of context that I was about to say. But I'm just saying that, like, I don't think that public opinion, unfortunately, is going to change on, like, you know, these trans issues that substantially in America, the same way that, like, even Israel Palestine has, because, like, what's happening in that situation and public opinion is even sort of like surprising and unprecedented. Like, there was totally a reality, and like Bam talked about this. He was wrong, but you know, he was right to think about this. That there's totally the reality that people would forget about October 7th, 2023 and the plight of Palestinians by the time the American election came around. Turns out they didn't. But ultimately, there was just no, like, actual interest from a lot of Democrats in all of this, like, trans stuff. From a lot of people from this trans stuff. Like, it's like people have weird opinions on it when you bring it up because they don't know a lot about it, and they have these like fake religious reasons for being against it or whatever, because all the people they listen to also have these weird proclivities. But when push comes to shove, we're seeing it already. People care much more about the economy. They care much more about immigration. And before, it was, again, this weaponization of we've got to get them out of here. Now it's becoming like, yo, you're going to send like masked, literal jackbooted thugs wearing, you know, Walgreens women's sunglasses and like trying to tackle, you know, pineapple ladies on street corners. Like, no, we're not going to do that. Like, we don't like that here. Immigration is an issue that people care a lot about more. And that's now been flipped around to be weaponized against Trump, just like the economy has. But these are still issues that people care about. They're just now, you're having more and more people realize that neither the Democratic Party or the Republican Party is doing anything for them. And that's just like too little too late. But I guess the nicest way I can say what I was refrained from saying before is that the American electorate, and a lot of electorates, honestly, and you know, again, I think this is I'm not even going to say that piece, but a common piece to this is the electorate doesn't learn anything until it's too late. It's got to get really, really fucking bad in order for actual progress to be made. Like, Martin Luther King did not have a great approval rating. He had to get shot, and decades had to pass for conservatives to, for a brief amount of time, even consider him to be an honorable figure. That's that time is basically already ended, like, even already. But that is what America has always been. We do the thing that when you're taking your first break, to go back to the Palestine thing, like Felix Biederman from Chopwood said like a really good thing, that all these countries like Canada, France, the UK, who are threatening to, unless Israel stops the war, we're not going to you know, grant Palestine their statehood, you know, or like, we're going to grant Palestine their statehood unless Israel stops the war. Which, never mind the horrid, like the horrible nature of that sentence of like, oh, you know, we could not do this symbolic thing that's saying like, oh, we don't like this anymore, rather than the material thing of not sending aid and weapons to these countries, which the UK, France, and Canada are all guilty of. But yeah, they're saying they won't even do like the celebratory sort of like you know, pretend thing. But the timing of when they're doing it, the fact they're doing it right now, shows that for the vast majority, there are a lot of people, and there's a younger amount of people. I think this cohort is changing. For conservatives, not in a good way, but for liberals, it's fine. But more and more people are saying like we are sick of this sort of occurrence. Like overall, we're sick of seeing these videos, but we're still in the minority, especially when it comes to power. When it comes on that, it has taken this long, again, over 650 days, for people in power to start to go like, let's at least publicly bullshit and pretend we don't like this. Like, to me, that is the biggest indictment of it all. That it took them this long.
Facts. I'm gonna go back to your favorite mayor, Pete. I wonder if because Pete Buttigieg is like such a freaking like Manchurian like politician. It's like you just feel like his handlers tell him everything to say. Like he's just like
Brand Price is Pete.
So I wonder if that's like how he really feels as far as like his daughter or whatever, or if he feels like, oh, this is one of those issues that you just gotta say whatever Joe Rogan said. I don't know, but I wish he just like didn't say anything. Like, like at least pretend to have people's back, or just be like, yeah, dude, like, man, it's like not even a big deal. Like, just deflect like every other freaking politician does, or like you would do if somebody asked you something real. Like, if somebody asked you about that train crash or whatever from, was it East Palestine in Ohio or something? If somebody
That's
asked
100% correct.
Like, if somebody asks you some really detailed shit about that, you're gonna deflect. So if you don't know what you should say, like who you're gonna offend or not when it comes to the trans sports issue, why don't you just deflect and say, you know what? There's a lot more important things we need to talk about. And I support my trans brothers and sisters and in between. And there's a lot of other things we need to talk about, and talk about some other shit. I don't expect Pete Buttigieg to, have the same answer that I would have, or have the same feeling I would have. I'll say that. But like, be a better politician. Like, it seems like he might be running for president in a few years. It's already going to be hard for you, doggy. It's going to be really hard for you, bruh. And you know why? It's because you're the G. That's why. So why don't you try to get everybody you can in that tent?
I didn't know Mayor Pete had gang affiliations.
You're a gangster crip. No,
Let's get it popping.
But it's like, why don't you just try to get like that group? All of them. Get the I's and the A's. Like, get everybody, dude. Like, try to, because it's gonna be really hard for you, dog. Sorry. I saw, and honestly, going back to, you also said like about like the issue of trans people in politics. Like, yeah, people care more about the economy and different things like that. But I did see, and I'm just like, God damn, dude. I did see a right-wing YouTube person talking about the Jeffrey Epstein thing.
When you watch often?
No. But when the Epstein stuff came out, I wanted to see what he had to say. He's black, but and he's a big Trump supporter. He's a big Trump supporter / conspiracy theorist. But he talked about the Epstein thing, and he literally said, yeah, like Donald Trump, he might be some kind of creep, but like, do I want the other people who are gonna like turn my little boy into a little girl, who are gonna force my little boy to be in a little girl? Like, that's their narrative over there. Some like conspiracy bullshit. And I also remember I happened to see some of the World Series, and they were having like those commercials during the World Series. Kamala cares about they and them, and she doesn't care about us, or some shit like that. They were
He
saying,
doesn't care about you. Yeah.
right? It cares about they them or whatever. Like, so I don't think that stuff is powerful right now, but when it comes election time, I think it does have some sway on, especially men. So maybe we just need to like get rid of all these men, honestly, because really, men are just the problem. Everything. I'll go first.
I will. I won't go first. I'll let y'all see how it is when you go, and I'll dip my toes into the water a little bit. Yeah, I'll let my toes go in first, but okay, we've given enough. You want to talk about Sudan?
Let's do it.
Where should we begin?
Okay, there was Lawrence of Arabia. No, I'm joking.
Man. Please, God. So no. Seriously, where would you like to get on that? I can, but
I laughed at Bat Lefty's comment. Jeez. Okay, actually,
what does white hat Freddie Gibbs mean?
I need to check something. This dog is acting crazy. Hold on.
Okay, all good. I'm going to get set up. I'm already set up. I see Nika says, I mean, if men will just shame and call out other men when they do shitty shit, men would fix each other. I think that's part of it, but also like, if, and trust me, I'm not trying to false equivocate things here, but I honestly find that if you were to say, if women would call out other women when they're being shitty to other women, then women would be able to fix each other that way. And, not really. Like, for some people, like, social pressure works, but for other people, when they're backed into a corner, they just like lash out even more. And then people look at the person lashing out as like an underdog. And, like, I think different things work for different people. And, some things are just like worth shaming and you absolutely have to do it. Don't get me wrong. There's some pressure that's just like fully irredeemable, but there's also times where I think honestly what would fix men more is if the men that other men were friends with would speak up more when their friends are doing misogynistic or problematic things. Like, I surround myself with people who check me if I'm going too far on certain things, like, usually with my mouth, like jokes or humor or whatever. And, like, I have my own standards too, but we're all constantly learning and constantly progressing. And, I don't think, I probably wouldn't get worse at something if I lost a friend over a joke I made. But the fact that I have people who remain my friend and they're willing to tell me things I'm doing wrong, and I respect that friendship because I'm also, working on myself in that way. That is a way that I think is a lot more receptive and a lot more helpful than just like saying, oh, if we just like continue call out culture, then it's like not going to work well. Because honestly, call out culture is Bam and I have been in activist spaces before too. And call out culture does not necessarily solve problems in these spaces either. So it's important to call that out. But I'm not sure how much of that you heard, if anything. I was just responding to some comments here. I'll just continue just like reading this comment because Nika was talking about like how can men fix each other? And I think Bam might have some opinions here, Mr. Toxic Masculinity guy. Pro, against, I'm not sure. But also says, Bam, we have to ultimately be more intentional within one another and also make sure that when a person is trying to do better, that we make them feel safe and correct. We need a variety of tactics. Yeah, I agree. I fully agree with that. Yeah, I'm a yes and kind of person. But Bam, how do we fix men?
I mean, I don't think that
Non-violently.
I don't think that much of that is going to happen on social media, because that's just not the nature of social media. So the dudes that are like you just got to hold your male friends accountable for their bullshit and misogyny and just their mindset. And you got to find out, like, somebody can really try to hide that shit. Like, you need to find out how they really feel, because, like, trust me, like, in my group chat with Caesar and Tarek, like I've asked some questions like, hey, yo, how you feel about this? Like, you got to hold them accountable.
There's certain moments where it's like, honestly, half the time, all I do on Instagram is just like gawk. And that's why I have a increasingly shorter time limit on how much I can actually use Instagram. We're down to like 10 minutes per day before I get locked out of the app on my phone, which has honestly been great for me.
I like that. Damn, how do you do? You have an Android too, right?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I gotta figure that out.
Oh yeah, it's a digital well-being. It's like Android's version of screen time.
It'll actually like lock you out.
You can hop into the settings to get around it if you really want to, but like, to me at least, like, it's so many like steps and buttons to press that it just doesn't make it worth it. Like, I have to go into settings, I have to like scroll and find this app, and I need to go to this thing, and then like, like, I don't care that much, honestly, because it's the instant gratification that makes social media sort of addicting, and the ability to like quickly find something that will gratify you if something doesn't gratify you enough. So going through menus on my phone doesn't gratify me enough, and then like that generally breaks the habit for me. And then I have a separate app that also allows me to DM on Instagram, but I can't really see. But I can't, so I can like communicate with people, but I can't really see the things they send, because if it's a video, it's just like an image of the video and a link, and then the link goes into Instagram and I can't see it. So
it's a flip.
I really gotta. It kind of is in that sense, which is honestly great. But no, like, I fully agree. I say all that to say it's not going to be done on social media, and I think like social media, not to be all like Luddite about it, but it has really inhibited this ability for us to really, like, reason with things. Here's what I was saying. I open Instagram sometimes just as like my gawking app, and there's a story this week about someone who threw a dildo onto the WNBA court. And I was like, if you're a man and you have a comment about that, like, and if you have a friend who is a man who had a comment about that or sent that in a DM, you should be like, what's funny about this? Like, what do you find funny about this, actually? Like that's the kind of stuff we're talking about, is that you should be in your group chats and being like, if you commented most action at a WNBA game ever, then it's like, it's one that's like, I'm using this as an example, because like I went to a New York Liberty game and I found it very enjoyable, and it was a packed house, by the way. So the idea of people not watching women's sports is just like ridiculous. Never mind tennis, let alone never mind gymnastics. Like there's so many other different contexts, but like this sort of jumping onto these tired tropes is something that we can check ourselves on a lot more as men, I would say. Like the sort of like latent homophobia that sits even within queer people talking to other queer people sometimes, right? Like, like a lot of times it's jokes, but a lot of times, like, it's a little bit okay, well, it's not really your experience to say. Like white cishet gay guys making jokes about queer brown people or like just trans brown people. It's like, you know, maybe we tap the brakes here. Again, it's not an Oppression Olympics, but it's like social media has made us lose so much humanity and ability to like actually, oh, I wouldn't say that because this person or a person like that is within earshot of me. And their friends are too, and word will get around that I'm saying ignorant shit like that, and that'll actually hurt me socially or criterially. Meanwhile, because we've let these techno-fascists take over and run these algorithms, you have someone telling Mehdi Dasan to his face, I hope you get deported, and I'm happy that you're calling me a fascist. I'm proud of that. And like, that is the direct opposite of the sort of accountability community culture that, again, I'm not, deconstruction or like post reconstruction happened without the internet. Like, don't get me wrong, the Ku Klux Klan rose up without the internet. Don't get me wrong. It's not like communities and like social media, like this stuff wasn't already happening. But I think the ease with which this stuff can spread is definitely impacted by social media, and the way you start to fight it is definitely not by arguing online, but it's by reintroducing social consequences for antisocial behavior. I'm gonna stop there because that was kind of a bar if you're British.
Or from Madagascar. No, seriously, it's like, it's unfortunate that, you know, social media could be such a good tool for things like this, but it's just not. And the nature of social media is just like narcissism and freaking
Bring back forums.
right. Well, I don't know. But yeah, it's just not the place for it. But in your relationships in person, or if you have like a relationship, you know, with somebody where you talk to them individually when it's not like in public or whatever, or maybe if you can hop on the phone with them, it's just way different than being in the comments or something like that. But I do think it's important, and but at the same time, I know it's not easy. Like, it's not easy to call out your friends or to call out like an acquaintance. Or,
and you don't have to call out, but you can just like drop a nudge and be like, oh, you go, why is someone throwing a dildo on the WNBA funny? It's like, oh, it's because none of those women like dick anyways. And it's like, oh, well, why do you think that everyone who's in the WNBA is lesbian? Like, you know, just keep asking those questions so that I don't think you're like being that combative, but you know, my standards are different. But I think the more you ask questions and the less you just respond with LOL or like the laugh crying emoji, that starts to like tell people, oh, either they're thinking about the questions or they're maybe just like, oh, you don't know how to take a joke, you're not funny. But it's honestly like, especially if you're in a group chat, other people can look at that and they might be going, oh, wow, like, why do I find this funny? Why do I think this? Like, why are these like stereotypes? I know if someone was talking about Dominicans or, you know, like whatever you are, like whatever, like if someone's talking about something that you identified with, you would be less amicable to make a joke about it.
Right. Yeah. And I didn't necessarily mean call out. I don't really mean call out like that, but just to like have those conversations with people or just those responses, you know, I know, like I was saying, I know it's not easy. Like, it's not easy to even find out things about people and to just cut them off, or to find out somebody has like certain beliefs and just be like, well, I'm good. That's not easy for everybody. But it's you know, if you care enough, you know, engage with these people and just understand and have grace with people too, because hold on.
Totally
okay. I thought the dog was getting into something again.
Can I say like something like one phrase, one clause, but like pick your grace, pick your like fighting, and then like pick when you're just like, you know what, I don't need to waste my energy on this. Because like I don't think everyone's worth like, wasting your energy and your peace on necessarily. Oh, Bam really must have not liked that. So you can get mad at me later. But I think like if you've been hesitating getting into an argument with like family members about politics and you're like in a safe position to do so and they can't, make your life difficult in some way, now is as good a time as ever if the conversation is about human rights abuses that you're seeing more and more of done internally to the United States or externally with the help of the United States. Now is the time to really speak out about that stuff. I really mean that because I don't know how else people are going to, like, some people are going to really change.
Word. Yes. And I didn't hear what you said after have grace, but yes.
I basically just said that, like, there's some people, I think now's as good a time as any to argue with someone who maybe you've been like, putting off if they're a family member, and like, it's a safe way to do so. Like, they can't, kick you out and put you out on the street or, physically harm you if it gets like too intense or whatever. But if it's about the human rights abuses that are happening internally or externally to the United States that the US has a cause in, and it's like, opinions that they feel, now's a good time to talk to them. But I think my overall point with that was that, really quickly, you should not feel, like, if there's someone who is just like too far gone, and a lot of people also realize that about them too, then rather than try to change their mind, just play devil's advocate with them with as many people watching as possible. Because you're not going to change their mind. Like, you're not going to change that one person's mind, but everyone who's watching is just going to be like, wow, this really, like, there's always this talk about, like, plant a seed or do a nudge. These are already trees that are blooming, and you're giving them, like, you're supercharging them. You're like juicing everything up. You're just like sealing the deal for why people are going to find this stuff repulsive.
For sure. I mean, for me personally, I can't have a friend that's like that. I don't really have a whole lot of friends. I don't have a whole lot of guy friends, but for sure,
my guy friends to girlfriends is very disproportionate.
Like, for sure, if I found out that somebody that I actually care about is on some bullshit like that, it's like, yeah, dude, like, I don't surround myself with people like that. Like, I just don't do it. Like, that's cool. Like, that's what you want to believe. I think you're dumb and I don't want to be your friend, but if they were like kind of smart, like, maybe we could talk about it. But if it's just like that troll, alt-right shit, like just being a troll or being just like a conspiracy theorist, it's like,
not worth your time.
Yeah, it's like, it's not worth my time, dude. Like, go do that and have fun with it.
So how about Sudan?
How about Sudan?
We were gonna talk about it, but like, we just kept pushing it off. We just kept pushing it off.
Well, Sudan is in a very bad situation. It is a civil war. I think that's kind of important to highlight because, let's be real. Like, everybody, you're kind of seeing the hashtag, but you're just like, I don't think everybody's doing a deep dive on what's going on in Sudan like that. You know what I mean? But it is a civil war. Damn, I haven't seen Janjaweed in so long. But that's given, what was that, like 2006? Janjaweed, they were saying that. But yeah, the situation is really unfortunate. There is a civil war. You have government forces fighting against forces that are backed by like UAE and others, I'm sure. And am I going to say this? War is bad. Wars are bad.
Oh
And
no, man.
people-
We're gonna get
No.
demonetized.
and it's really unfortunate, but it's just sadly how it goes. When there's a war, it's just the civilians get it, dude. You know, they start killing all the civilians. They start R-wording the women, and you know, there was like a ceasefire that happened some years ago. There was like this started brewing a few years back. Then there was like a ceasefire, and for what I remember, like there was like some elections, and then something happened in the elections, and then they started fighting again. And now I'm gonna be honest with you, Dan. I've been kind of keeping up more with the Congo more recently than Sudan.
Yeah, there's been a lot of
Because there was like a peace treaty between the M23 and the Congo government, which is basically like Rwanda. I don't know what's going to happen with
Congolese
that.
government,
What did I say?
the Congo government.
The DRC government, but
They're all the same, is what Bam's saying.
because there is another Congo right there over here. But so I've been kind of keeping up more with that because honestly, like, oh, this sounds terrible to say too, but it's like a civil war. It's like y'all got to figure that out. I don't know. Y'all got to figure that shit out, dude. Like, yo. Come on, yo. Like Khartoum, Durman, like figure that shit out, dog.
No. Yeah, I get the very much the same thing. Like, if America were to break out into a civil war like conservatives want, like they're chomping at the bit for, now more than ever, the majority of the world, including our allies, would be like, let them fight.
Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah. They're gonna be like they're gonna be like nice.
like you think millionaires and billionaires are gonna leave New York City because a brown person has family in Uganda with a name you don't want to pronounce right is gonna become the mayor? Like,
right.
No. Capital is gonna leave the country if it falls into civil unrest and war. Right?
Literally, if there's a civil war in America, what's gonna happen?
That's gonna be the best things for Britain's tech industry, which is going through it right now. The best thing for the Greek financial sector is for America to have a civil war.
Everywhere in the world, because all the like troops are going to be coming back, all those bases are going to get ransacked all over the world. Like they're going to be like nice, like we got those assholes out of here. Like Japan's going to be saying that. Like
every American base, the only thing that they're literally going to strip it for parts. The only thing they're going to leave open is the Burger Kings. Those like Burger Kings that they deployed for the troops, like
literally, like the Pizza Hut, like. The whole world is going to be so happy. Like they're going to, I'll say this. They're going to be like kind of sad if like America, like the American Civil War is like really like is against black people because like the world do kind of like, they're like, dude, like, no, we like the shit that y'all be doing. Like y'all aren't the enemy for real. But like the whole world is going to be like, yeah, good luck guys. And literally, I mean, the Sudan situation is horrible and it's really sad. And there are like outside factors like, making this war go longer than it should be. And to what end, I don't even know. Like, is it just for like the gold? Like, it's really not that freaking serious. But it's like, dude, like y'all got to figure that shit out, dude. Like, come on now. Like you weren't fighting. At some point, can the bullets run out?
Can the bullets run out? That's insane. Yeah, I don't know how these sorts of things end. And like I just kind of, we said this in many different ways before, and I promise I'm not even gonna go into it that much because this is Eastern time Dan. And so this is Taste Your Own Medicine Dan. We're gonna be like, again, another lights out at midnight sort of situation. But
let me respond to this really fast. This comment. All sorts of countries interfered in Syria. Facts. Did this not happen in Sudan? It's not the same in Sudan. Like from what I know, there is the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, are like on the Janjaweed side. I'm sure like Saudi Arabia is too, probably to some extent, but it's not in the same way that Syria was because there's no like United States funding aside.
yeah, no, totally fair, I think. Mike Boy for mayor. Yes, the tech bros have to be at work at 6 a.m. Really? I'm surprised. Usually tech bros on a Friday, they usually have it easier unless you're like offshored. But yeah, it is. I don't know what's gonna fix it. I'm just kind of surprised that all these things are going on, and it's just kind of things that happen. Like Gaza has been fucked up for so many years, but people are only caring right now. It's that I think we really hit something on, like, people only stand up when it's too late, especially in the West. And I don't know how we fix that like fundamental flaw with humanity at this point.
What? That's a whole existential freaking conversation. That's a whole nother. Yeah, I don't know. Some people will say God. I mean, what the hell do you? I don't know. People have been fighting each other and just not wanting to cooperate with each other for a very long time. You like to think, well, like, come on, guys, like, we have enough for everybody now. Can it get better? But just think about the people that in your own life that like get very angry about very minuscule things, and just think about like how many people they would have killed if they were allowed to. Like, and some of these places around the world are those regions are very volatile already. It's a violent region when you're talking about like East Africa and stuff. Like it's a violent region, dude. Like there's not that respect for life like that. And I'm not like condemning a whole group of people, but that's just the reality.
I mean, like, I get the point you're making, Bam. I don't mean to like take it off track, but yes, we call that a violent region. America is also the country where we have more days, like we have more mass shootings than there are days every single year.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying America is immune to that. I'm just saying
no. Like that's what I'm saying too. It's like I know you're not saying that. And it's not even like a butt situation, but it's just like there's a lot of violence that we put up with. Not to keep it so existential, but like there's a lot, and I hate to be bleak about it, but especially this late into the show, I hate to be bleak about it, but we might be stuck like this until it gets really, really, really like a whole country may need to get wiped out, and like a really like a really white. Let me stop right there. No, but like there's such a lack of overall empathy in the world, especially when it comes to life itself, and individualism is like a plague essentially, and corruption is a plague. yeah, I don't know how we get that back. And it's not going to like when Sandy Hook happened, I was like, oh, clearly this has to be the point when we start to do something about gun control in America. And that organization, Sandy Hook Promise, still does advertisements of the parents.
I see them
who are like, yeah, they're not asking for money for themselves, but they're asking for support for people to fight gun violence. And it's like,
Dan,
I don't want them to.
You mean Sandy Hook? Dan, go to a Trump rally and ask them if Sandy Hook was real.
Dude, Alex Jones is still making like live videos.
Oh yeah, he's doing great. But I'll say this because you do sound bleak, but I'm going to say this. Most of the world is peaceful. Most of the world, you can go there and you can chill and have a good time. Well, you won't die. How about that? You might get meningitis. No, I'm joking. But most of the world is not a war zone. The vast majority of the world is not a war zone. But one person is too many, and I truly feel like that. Like one person is too many when it comes to like warfare or just gun violence or domestic violence. Like it's stuff that it needs to, we got work to do, but most of the world is not a war zone.
I guess fair enough.
Yeah, go to sleep.
Well, no. I want to do one quick like rapid fire thing. Because we had, speaking of not caring, the economy, Wall Street, whatever Trump does, like at first, I don't really know what to think about this, but I'll just like say it like flat out. At first, I think Wall Street liked Trump because they realized, listen, at the end of the day, we're getting our tax cuts, and it's going to be fine. Then they're kind of worried with all this like tariff stuff. And I think there's like some long-term, like fundamental foundational damage that this is going to be doing to the country. But we're back into this like first term sort of thing. We're like, okay, we know Trump's going to do something stupid. He's going to signal it. We can make some money off the top as it's happening. But we're going to come back out a couple months later even higher because it's basically a glorified pump and dump. He does something crazy. The market reacts. We buy the dip and, continue to make more profit off of that. The whole Trump always chickens out sort of thing, just playing out in the first term, played out in the second term, playing out in the second term again right now. But really quickly, there was this whole August 1st deadline, which is 5 minutes from now. India is getting 25% of tariffs. They always say iPhones are made in China. The Pro models are made in China. If you buy the regular models, a lot of those are getting made in India, actually. You think Tim Cook's going to eat that price? We'll see about that when the next iPhone comes out later this year. It's going to have a new version of Siri that doesn't work, and they're going to use that as the reason why it costs $200 more. Let's see. U.S. automakers say that Trump's tariff deal with Japan puts them at a disadvantage. So this whole like America first thing is going to hurt the U.S. auto industry, not only because American cars are somehow worsening in quality. You wouldn't think you could get worse from the bottom, but they're going to be more expensive in a lot of different places, and they're going to be like, yo, the European cars are cheaper and we like them more and we have European pride, and again, like, fuck America. Or we can get some of these Chinese cars, which are just frankly eating America's lunch. But for the Japanese automakers to be like, we're going to make even more money in America now. That's just like, thank you, President Trump. Trump is pretending to do this like 90-day negotiating period with Mexico, which That's there's Taco Trump. There's also Stave It Off Trump, and we get a lot of Stave It Off Trump, as I've been seeing. And it's just like, you know what? Let's just let's worry about this some other time. Like it's not going to be that big of a deal. Let's, you know, we're going to figure it out in 2 weeks. That's his other favorite, 2 weeks. He puts that aside. He's going to do that with Mexico. And then this is my last one. This is my favorite one. The U.S. government is $36.7 trillion in debt. Even with all these Doge cuts, which are not that many, but even with the massive cuts to Medicare and Medicaid that are going to be happening because of Trump and the Republicans' bill, the debt is going to continue going up under Trump. He's not really addressing that. He's using a credit card to pay for ICE raids, if we really want to get technical about it. But if you want to do your part, conservatives always say, oh, well, if you think taxes could be raised, just start giving the government more money. Just pay more taxes. To which I say, conservatives, if you think the debt's a really big problem, why don't you just Venmo the U.S. government so we can start to pay down the national debt, which is what the Trump administration introduced. Now, to be fair, this has been an option for a long time. It's just Venmo's a new addition. It's like, oh, we take Apple Pay now. Let me know when you can Klarna the national debt.
Klarna.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I was like, wait, that sounds familiar. I was like, oh yeah.
I don't know what the other ones are.
Yeah,
like
something with the
Afterpay.
Afterpay, yeah, right.
Yeah. I'm gonna get the national debt on layaway.
Well, there's also Brazil. He's saying they're going to be after 50% tariff because they're prosecuting Bolsonaro.
You're being too mean to my guy. It's like, Trump, you need to put a 45% tariff on COVID-19 because that's been really kicking Bolsonaro's ass.
And the occasional knife.
I love that they gave didn't they give Bolsonaro like house arrest? Doesn't he have to wear like an ankle monitor?
I don't know if he has a monitor, but he's on house arrest, I think, or some kind of restrictions.
They should have made it a shot caller.
You might like it. Oh no.
Time.
oh wait. Also, he's talking about additional tariffs on Canada if they recognize the state of Palestine.
Oh yeah, I did see that. You know what? Again, good. There's so many, like, of course this is glorified American media, but the vibes in Canada where stores are like, this is the Canadian version of this product, buy this instead of this American company version. Like, you know what? If civil war breaks out in this country, they're going to offer amnesty to black people in foreign countries, and that's it. Like, that's...
I really hope so. I don't know if they are, but I really hope so, because I'll take back everything I said about China.
Countries like Jordan and Egypt, Saudi Arabia, they are really good with oppressed brown populations. They'll happily take us.
Okay, I'm going to Ireland.
They got a new subway network in Rydia. That might be good.
I'm going to Ireland with Bad Lefty. They'll take me. I got my Roger Casement shirt.
I'm going to Northern Ireland.
Don't make me say that documentary.
Anyways, that's it. It's midnight now. I need to start preparing for the next phase of my night. Sleeping a lot.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much for listening and watching. Power can be within you. I don't know. I literally got delirious right when we hit midnight. So I am going to end us here. Again, sorry I don't have my best equipment with me, so I can't pass along the stream to other folks. But if Riverboat Jack is streaming right now, definitely check her out. Anyways, peace. Bye, y'all.
See ya.